Self-reliance, the vision of India being self-reliant, or you are personally being taught that be able to become independent. These all ideologies, these all teachings, these all visions are totally impossible. One person can never be independent, can never be self-reliant. One nation can never be self-reliant, be it India or the USA or China. Because it is very simple calculation, it is very simple equation. At one place there is a producer or supplier which is selling the product, and at the second place there is a consumer who is consuming that product. Now if there is no consumer, if there will be no consumer, then whom will producer supply the good? And if there is no producer, then from whom the consumer will purchase goods? To have a balance, to keep the work going on, we need both consumer as well as supplier or producer. Today we can say that China is the factory of the world, partially factory of the world, but this factory can't run without the consumer base throughout the world. If China is producing for the world, then there must be consumers throughout the world. Now you see the equation here, how things are balancing. At one place, majority of the product suppliers are from China, and at the other place, majority of the consumers are from the world. For instance, suppose if all the consumer deny the Chinese product throughout the world, then whom will Chinese producers sell their goods? Now Chinese producer will face crisis in selling their goods, and on the other hand, the consumers who were habitual of consuming Chinese goods, they will also face inconvenience by not consuming Chinese goods, because for years they were habitual of consuming Chinese goods. So don't think like a child that if you are boycotting Chinese goods, US goods, Arab goods, so on, then you are doing well. Both will suffer, producer as well as the consumer. Take a very small example. You are a child of a mother Now, mother is a producer. What she is producing? She is producing food. She is cooking food for you, and you are the consumer. You are consuming that food which is made by your mother. Now, suppose if you stop consuming food from your mother, then whom mother will supply food? Food will go into vain, and you will also face difficulty by not having your meal. Now you can do here one thing, that you can go out to a hotel and you can have your food there. Now you have found your alternative. Now mother can also found an alternative. She will supply food to some other person for some price. So this is an illusion that if you will boycott any goods, then you will cause harm to the producer and you will become self-reliant. No, still you are dependent. If you boycott your mother's food, still you are dependent on the food provided by the hotel. You have found your alternative, mother has also found her alternative. Similarly, if you will boycott any goods, they will find another consumer, and you by default, to save thyself from difficulty, from inconvenience, will find some other producer, some other company. For example, if you are not satisfied from the iPhone, then you may go for Samsung phone. Still dependency is there on the phone, though company have been changed, but dependency is still there. So throw this thing out of your mind that you have to become independent or self-reliant. It is an illusion, it is a delusion, it is impossible. Nobody in this world can become self-reliant. If you take for example Mahavir, if you say that he went to forest and he was totally independent, yes, on facts he was independent. He was not taking help of any human being. Even he went to the forest for 12 years. But one fact you have also to consider, that he remained without having food for days, months. So if you really want to become independent, then you have to accept inconvenience, simply not consuming. And even Mahavir was dependent not on the human being though, but on the nature, for the trees, for shelter. On the earth he was dependent for flooring where he can sleep. So even Tirthankar Mahavir was not totally independent. Everyone is dependent. You are dependent, if not on the human being, then on the nature. And nature in turn is also dependent, if not on you, then other natural thing. Independence is utter stupidity of every political leader, every human being. This is just a waste of time. Everything is dependent on each other. Now, from 24th February, we are seeing Russian invasion of Ukraine-Russia war. Now the West have placed many sanctions against the Russia, many embargoes on Russia, especially on oil products. You know one fact, Russia is the largest importer of oil products in the world, and Russia is the second largest crude oil exporter in the world. Sorry, I would like to correct myself. Russia is the largest exporter of oil products in the world and second largest exporter of the crude oil in the world. Now, many of the West nations have stopped purchasing Russian oil products. So, what we see now, the rise in the crude oil. As per reports, there is approximately more than 50% of rise in per gallon of crude oil, and this prompted the President Joe Biden to consider a gas tax holiday, because there is a discontent among Americans that it is very costlier for them to purchase crude oil. So American government has considered for stop taxing on the oil. See, now here the US government has stopped purchasing the Russian oil. Now they are facing inconvenience. Now government is forced to stop taxing the oil imports. Now who is at loss? American government. This shows that if you want to become dependent, then you have to face inconvenience. And if you want to become independent, you have to face inconvenience. If you want to become self-reliant, you have to face inconvenience. And there is no larger impact on Russia. Russia has found the new buyers for her oil. Now Indian government has increased her purchase of Russian oil after the commencement of the Russia-Ukraine war. And Russia is selling the oil at reasonable price to Indian government. So Indian government watched her convenience. If Indian government had purchased oil from the global market, especially from non-Russian nations, then it would have been costlier to Indian government than purchasing the Russian oil. So there is no impact on Russia. Russia just changed the customers. Earlier the customers were the West. Now the customers are more from Asian nation. India, China. So these embargoes, these sanctions on Russia will have no impact on Russia. Russia will just change the customers. This is just a foolish waste of time by the West. This is just politicians are trying to divert the attention of their voters that they are doing something for humankind. But they are not preventing Russia from attacking Ukraine every day. No, this is just a play of politicians. And no country can be self-reliant. Even the producer nation, China, cannot become self-reliant because it needs customers, it needs consumers to consume her products. Similar is the case with every individual human. You can never become independent. If you want to become independent, then you have to face inconvenience. So, the whole game is of only ego. Out of ego, you cancel your contract with other person, you cancel your relation with other person. But if you think with a peaceful mind, calm mind, then you will find that you can never become independent. With whom you have cancelled your relation, with whom you have struck down your contract, that person will some or the other time, if not now then in future, somehow you will be requiring his or her help. So it is just a game of ego. It is just out of ego you put sanctions, you cut relations. After ego goes, you get a calm mind, then think on it. Can you really become independent of that person? Can a country really become independent of any other country? Can you really become self-reliant? The more genuine question is, can you really become independent, self-reliant without facing inconvenience? Mark these two words: independent, self-reliance, and inconvenience. I repeat my question: can you or any nation become independent, self-reliant without facing inconvenience? Think on it with a calmer mind, with a peaceful mind. It is just ego only that I will become self-reliant or independent. It is only ego that I will become independent and show the world that I am standing on my legs. But those legs will be paralyzed, will be broken inside, will be hollow from inside, because that will be the inconvenience. So, whatever person you see, whatever person you have relation with, each person is going to help you in this or that way. Each person in your life, you will be requiring their help, or they will be requiring your help in this way or that way. It is just a game of ego that you don't want to help them, you want to become independent. That's all. So If you fall down your ego, you will able to think on my question which I have given you. With peaceful mind and calmer mind, you ponder upon it. Subscribe if you find this video helpful and share this video.